Hi, Orange. Okay, guys, so I'm going to take this little bit of aloe. First thing I'm going to do is shave off the thorns. Scrape those off. Then I'm going to create myself a little groove, like so. And I'm going to leave a lot of this outer part of the plant outside so I can hold on to it to apply, like so. I'm going to leave it exposed so that you can use a latex to grab onto, just like that. And to do this, I'm using an old K-bar swell end knife with a caramel bone handle, and it's a 2-blade. I think it's from the 1950s. We'll look at that closer in a little bit. So many of us might have this plant at home, right? This aloe plant. And it really is a wonderful plant to have. I keep it around mainly because of situations such as burns or rashes. And what I find and what my wife finds is that this gelatin-like substance, this aloe, really soothes the itching and scratching associated with a rash, and it really helps to take away the pain if you have a burn like sunburn or maybe a light burn that you might have gotten from cooking on the stove. It really does a trick, guys. So, but first you have to remove those little thorns that are on the side, just like I showed you from the video. And it is edible. You know, the aloe is edible. You know, it also has some digestive medicinal properties as well, incidentally. I'm not going to go too much into the details of that. This is the Knife Detector channel. And as you know, on my channel, I make videos about knives. But today, I thought I'd do something a little different. And I would show you my aloe plant. My wife burned herself while she was cooking on her finger. It wasn't that bad. It was just a little burn. And so we applied aloe first, right, to soothe it immediately. And then after we washed it, of course, we applied aloe and then later on some Neosporin. And then we went ahead and we bandaged it up. And it was just a very light burn. But it's good to have this plant. Because this plant is extremely medicinal. It's very good to have just lying around the house. Because if you don't have something like cortisone or Benadryl, something like that, and you need something to soothe a rash or something, then aloe does the trick most of the time. It's a beautiful natural remedy, guys. Check into it. And so this is a little bit of a closer look at the knife. It's a K-bar swell end knife. Nickel bolsters, 2 blades, beautiful knife. So in my channel, if you're just tuning in, I like to make videos on unique or vintage knives. And this is a vintage one. I believe it's from the 1950s. And it could be the late 40s. But I also wanted to share that little tidbit of info for you. So until then, guys, again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Incidentally, if you're wondering what kind of planter that was that the aloe plant was in, it's actually a planter that is made from an old tire. There's a gentleman that changes tires near my neighborhood, and he has a fix-a-flat station, right? And to raise a little bit of extra money for his family, he decides to cut up those old tires that nobody's going to use anymore and recycle them and make those pretty planters, right? And that planter right there was not very expensive at all. I think that planter cost me like $10 or $15, and it helps him a little bit, and he's able to make money out of something that is going to be thrown away and needs to be disposed of. He decides to make something beautiful out of it. So that's a cool looking planter. Just a little bit of information on that. Okay guys, so once I took the thorns off of the aloe plant, I went ahead and I left this little chunk exposed. And I left the latex type material on the outside so I could use this as a handle. And what you do is, if you have a burn, you can then use that to soothe the burn. Now, aloe is very good for soothing rashes and burns. It's also edible. The inside part is also edible as well. This immediately has a cooling effect on whatever burns that you might have. It's very good to have an aloe plant hanging around somewhere. Whenever my wife accidentally burns her finger from cooking, or I accidentally burn my finger from working on something, we always go to an aloe plant first. We cut off a piece of aloe and I make a little usable piece like this. Keeping the thorns off, I took the thorns off of this section here and that section like you saw me do in the video. And then you just apply it to the exposed area, right? And it'll immediately soothe that area. Now in an emergency, this inner part of the aloe is actually edible as well. And it is full of water. It's very moist in here, right? And it has these soothing properties. So in the case of a burn, you can take any aloe plant that you have. Once you take the thorns off, you can use it like this. Since this is the knife detector channel, I want to go ahead and show you this bad boy. This is a K-bar swell end bone handle 2-blade knife, right? And what this is I believe this is from the 1950s or so, maybe late 40s. It's got 2 blades. It's a K-bar, and it says Olean, New York. Very sharp, this knife. You can see there's pieces from the aloe that I just used to take that off. It does have a crack in it, but it doesn't seem to be that deep. It seems mostly like it's superficial. Looks like it's still on there really tight. So I'm not going to mess with that crack at all. This beautiful color that the bone has turned into is kind of like a caramel type color. I like it very much. It's a good, easy knife to carry and to have in your pocket. This is not one of the smaller ones. This is about 1, 2, 3. This is about 4 1/4 inches long. It's a big knife for one of these knives, and that's one of the reasons I bought it. Really like this old K-bar. It is very sharp. So that's one of the blades. Here's the secondary blade. The secondary blade is even sharper than the first. Now you can tell by these blades that the person who owned this knife for many years before me, they really took care of it. They did not abuse the sharpening in any way. They sharpened it, it looks like maybe with a stone, because they really just did a lot of honing on this knife. They did a lot of careful sharpening on this knife. No hack jobs, nothing with a grinder or anything like that. So this blade has been used and it does show wear, but it was done with love and with care, and I didn't mind to rhyme. Didn't intend to rhyme right there, but there it is. So check this out, guys. This beautiful K-bar knife. Wanted to share that with you. It's got these beautiful brass liners, bone handles, nickel silver bolsters over here and over here as well. Lovely knife. Check out that bone pattern. Check out that caramel type pattern. Sometimes age and 50 years will just do wonderful things to a bone handle knife. You can really tell the age, and you can really tell when a knife has been loved and used in a loving way. So I use this bad boy for this right here. And I cut that aloe. Notice how I cut the thorns off of it right there. And I left myself this to use as a handle so that I can apply it to whatever it needs to be applied to. So until then, this is Knife Detector with another little helpful tip on aloe plants and showing you my beautiful K-bar. So you guys have a wonderful day. God bless. Don't forget, please like and subscribe. You know the routine, and stay sharp, my friends.